Yeah, I don't know where to start here. I got a new mic specifically for this, so I'm pretty excited to put this thing to work. The old mic was serviceable, but it had a USB micro port, and we're on USB-C. I just got back from Vegas a few days ago, and we had a pretty wild turn of events there. Hold on, I'm just making sure Kaylin's not home. I'm a little nervous to do a solo pod. It's challenging when you don't have someone to speak with and you're just sitting here in your room alone. It's a little bit different. It's definitely a different dynamic. But some stuff happened at Vegas I wanted to talk about for the pod. We were there over New Year's. Today's January 7th. So we got back a few days ago, really, but it was good seeing the fam. Some of my cousins, my aunt. I think my aunt told Kaylin she should have a pod, and I was like, well, we kind of do. It's definitely different being solo. I don't know how many of these I can do. I don't know how long I can do this for, but I really, really wanted to use this microphone. Saw Anima. Anima was definitely the highlight. Being in the Sphere for the first time was pretty wild. It's a huge technological achievement. That entire thing is fucking insane. When I went into it, I went in thinking this is like an American milestone. This is an American pillar, monument, wonder of the world. Because there's no sphere in Saudi Arabia. And the French don't have a sphere. And the Brits don't have one. And China doesn't have one. And Japan doesn't have one. So this is only here in the USA. And for as crazy as it looks, just looking at it for pictures of it and videos of it on your phone, it's pretty incredible in person. And when you get in, it's no different. It feels like you walked into something 10 years into the future or more. I hadn't heard of Anima, but I was not disappointed. It was pretty fucking crazy. I'm probably going to be talking about Anima like for the first few months of 2025 for sure. Insane graphics. Seeing stuff like that in 2D is pretty cool, or like on a flat screen, rather. But on a giant curved screen like that, it's fucking insane. My cousin made a funny comment because it was on New Year's Eve. Well, we're not going to be able to see the fireworks. Well, yeah, no, you're not going to be able to see the fireworks because we're in the Sphere. So we joked, we kind of had a laugh, like, oh, the architects didn't think beforehand to make. Surely While we were in Vegas, we stayed at the Bellagio. Kaylin has some complaints. She's convinced there were bed bugs there. I'm less convinced. But the casino was pretty nice. It sucks having everybody and their mom in Vegas just walking through the lobby of the hotel you're at. That part sucks. A little crowded. But got to watch some people gamble. I didn't partake in any gambling myself. Vegas got enough of my money. I don't need to lose anymore at the blackjack tables or the roulette. So I watched. And there was some like fucking Asian woman there that was going on a run at the roulette table. I was watching with my cousin. We were completely enamored with what was happening. It just felt like every time she put a chip down, it was hitting. I think you can kind of tell when the staff is getting upset at somebody winning money, and the floormen start gathering around and trying to get an idea of what's going on. How's this person winning? When are we going to cut them off? And she just kept going, man. And we wanted to stay a little longer, but there's always so much going on. Eventually, the floor man was like, "Hey, I need to see some IDs. You guys look pretty young. My cousins aren't." Oh, well, of course it's muted. I wonder how long that was going on for. Asian lady went on a run at the roulette table, and we wanted to stay as long as we could. Eventually, he asked to see my cousin's IDs. They're not 21, so we ended up having to move. But sat down at the blackjack table. Not at the table, near it, next to it. And was chatting with a guy there who, you could tell something was going on. He was in a moment. And we're having a good conversation. I always ask people, what do you do for work? Where are you from? And he's telling me he's in the Army. And I said, okay, cool, dude. What are you doing in Vegas? And he's playing blackjack, and he goes, dude, I'm here to, I'm here for one last ride. And he's being a little cryptic. I'm going, dude, gamble your money away. Who's to judge? I'm not judging. He said, yeah, I'm in town for a few days. I rented a Cybertruck. I said, wow, that's pretty incredible. I haven't been in a Cybertruck, but I've seen them. And I'm saying, what made you want to get the Cybertruck? You a big Elon guy? Or like, there's something about those trucks that a certain type of person wants. You want to attract attention. You are an Elon Musk bro. It's not people who are passionate about trucks. It's not people who are generally passionate or interested in electric cars, but they like the idea of people looking at them. They are head turners. They look weird. So he's telling me, yeah, I got the Cybertruck, man, and I got it parked out in the parking garage, and I'm just here to have a good time. And it was very brief, our conversation. I said, hey, man, dude, I'd love to check one of those out one day. I'm not a big car guy, but one day. Every time I've been in a Tesla, I've been pretty enamored. Feels pretty different. You're in a spaceship or something. You're not in a car. The conversation was coming to an end. I said, hey, man, it was great talking to you. I didn't catch your name, by the way. He said, my name's Matthew. I said, I'm Dylan. Enjoy your time in Vegas. That was it. It wasn't much. I had to go back to the room to get ready for something, I'm sure. But Vegas was fun. Shortly after, we went to the Sphere. We headed back. I remember my aunt said something that kind of raised my eyebrows. I don't remember how it came up, but she was talking to Kaylin. They were talking about Luigi. And they both agreed. He's so attractive, isn't he? Yeah, there's something about it. The eyebrows, I don't know. What's going on? Why? It's, you have the Luigi shooting a CEO, and then on New Year's, you have, some guy who got radicalized by ISIS driving his car through New Orleans. But for whatever reason, if you are attractive, this behavior is excused by girls occasionally, more than occasionally. I mean, I couldn't believe I was listening to two people saying, well, he was attractive. And I do wonder what that enables people to get away with. If Hitler was attractive, how would we view him today? If he didn't have the weird mustache, would women be fawning over him? I don't know. Stalin was attractive. a lot of women, young women, are socialists and communists. I'm sure a lot of people would love to send their enemies or just people who disagree with them to the gulag. Does that make it okay? No, I don't think so. Don't get mad at me because I don't think we should send people to gulags. But if the guy who came up with the concept is hot, how many people will excuse it? I don't know. If the guy who shot Trump in the ear was hot, would people be cheering him on the way they did for Luigi? Would he become an online sensation where people are making TikToks about wanting him to impregnate them or how cute he is or his eyebrows? I don't know. These aren't the things that are keeping me up at night, but I do ask myself occasionally where we are. Also was pretty fascinated with the coverage of the New Orleans driver. I think at first, the first thing I saw was them saying, he's got a black cloth or a black cover on top of a pole on the back of his truck. And I've never heard an ISIS flag be referred to as a cover, but it's clearly an ISIS flag. And if he was hot, what would we be saying about him? I don't know. If somebody like me does that, or someone who looks like me shoots the CEO of a healthcare company, people would be up in arms. Now, I'm very staunchly critical of the healthcare system. People who know me or have spoken to me, I'm sure have heard me talk about this before. The healthcare system is fucked. It is fucked. Now, I'm not saying we need socialized healthcare. It's certainly not perfect where it is now. What I've advocated for at work and other places where I shouldn't be talking about this stuff is that something needs to change. When I was a kid, the Affordable Health Care Act was signed. And I remember people being not too happy about it then. It doesn't seem like it's panned out the way it was supposed to. Ultimately, I don't have the answers, but ultimately, what we need to do is restructure these healthcare companies and pharmaceutical companies so they are not profit incentivized. I'm not saying we socialize them, but it doesn't make sense for them to be structured the same way Microsoft is, with a CEO, a board of directors, they're answering to shareholders. Shareholders expect profits. The best way for them to be profitable is to tell people, fuck off, we're not going to pay for your surgery. We're not going to cover your basic healthcare needs. So, with me being as critical of this system as I've been, and there's no one, let's face it, there's no one who's listening to this podcast who probably doesn't know me. So you have heard me talk about this before, but it's all fucked. Now, I don't think the answer is to go and shoot the CEO of United Healthcare for many reasons. The first reason is that doesn't solve anything. Because if I recall correctly, the shareholders and the board of directors and everybody else who was supposed to be at that quarterly meeting still went into the fucking hotel he was shot in front of and had the meeting. So they literally walked over his dead body to get into the fucking building, or where his dead body previously was. I'm sure there was still blood on the ground. There's Brian. He was supposed to talk today at the meeting. Wonder what happened there. Anyways, let's go in. And they had the meeting like nothing fucking happened. And so if you shoot the CEO, you're not going to change anything. I'm not advocating for violence, but violent revolutions throughout history have been the catalysts that change things. I'm not saying to go do these things, but Rome had a dictator, Julius Caesar, until it violently didn't. The other thing I need to mention, I talked about this at work previously. Brian Thompson, the CEO, when I first heard the news, my first reaction was, hey man, another Harvard School of Business graduate, he probably did some shady stuff. He's probably came from a super rich family. He was probably a Nepo baby. I remember thinking like, yeah, dude, his uncle or his dad or his grandfather is probably on the board of directors of that healthcare company. And I mean, shit, dude. Hard to feel sorry for him, hard to sympathize for him, if that's true. A little harder. And then I did some digging. The story wasn't going away, so I was looking and I'm curious. Okay, Who is this guy actually? So I look him up. Quick Wikipedia search. Dude was from Iowa. His dad was an elevator operator on a farm in a grain silo. So his mom, like, probably was a stay-at-home mom. Maybe she probably had some part-time shit. But the man of the family, his father, was a basically working class, lower income farmer. And this guy still managed to go to the University of Iowa and major in accounting and business, like most Americans his age should be able to do. So he's not really coming from the elitist class of people you would have thought. And somehow over the course of his career, he works his way up to be the fucking CEO of the healthcare company. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how that works. But isn't that like what we're supposed to want to do? Isn't that what you're supposed to want people to do? That's sort of what all of these disgruntled people advocate for. I want to be able to go to school and be a fucking CEO, make a shit ton of money. I don't think this guy as the CEO was like, hey man, we need to fuck everyone over as much as possible. Maybe. But again, that goes back to the structure of how the companies are designed and the parameters of what they're allowed to do within the confines of the law. So you shot a player in the back 3 times, but you really need to be going after the rules of the game. I don't know what happened where all the CEOs are the bad guys now. The people in charge make the rules. These are the rules of the game. You guys can be profitable and answer to shareholders. We're not going to put any price ceilings on anything, on any of the fucking medicine or the surgeries. We're going to make it extremely challenging for people to become doctors. They're going to have to go through 8 or 9 years of school, which is very expensive. And there's frankly just going to be not a lot of them. So their services are going to be in high demand. Oh, and by the way, everyone has to have healthcare, or to get healthcare, excuse me, you have to have a full-time job because the rules of the game changed after the Affordable Health Care Act. Well, if someone's a full-time employee, meaning what, 40 hours a week, you have to give them healthcare. Okay, fine. We're just going to only hire part-time people because healthcare is expensive. Oops. That's not what we meant to do. Oops. So don't hate the players, hate the game. And you've got this guy with eyebrows who, according to Tim Dillon, is gay, allegedly. That's just the word on the street. I don't know. Tim Dillon's not always the most credible, but he did go on a very long conversation about this guy's actually gay. He was like closeted gay or something, and he liked black dudes. Hey, don't get mad at me. I'm not the one who said it. Tim Dillon said it. People were saying it on X, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't care. But all these people fawning over him, I hate to break it to you guys, but if that's true, he's not interested. We're in very strange times. We're in strange times. um, the attractiveness of a convicted terrorist determines his ability to win over public opinion. And if his trial is, I don't know, some fucking jury of handpicked people from Manhattan and Brooklyn, I mean, they might be sympathetic to him. I don't know. But the world goes on, you see? So if you shoot the CEO, everything carries on as normal. It's not going to fix all the problems. I don't think other CEOs are necessarily shaking in their boots at the idea that somebody else might come along and shoot them in the back, which, by the way, I thought like one of the big talking points of the left was like, we're anti-guns. I thought it was weird he had a fucking 3D gun. Like, this guy couldn't have gotten a hold of a normal gun. I don't know. But we went from being anti-gun to, well, as long as you're going after a rich person, I don't care. But Luigi himself came from privilege. Pretty wealthy family, ostensibly. Went to UPenn. Very prestigious if you're liberal. I don't like giving these colleges more ego than they need, because I don't think Penn and Harvard are prestigious colleges. There's a lot of idiots that go to them. There's a lot of anti-Semitism that's harbored there. You may or may not recall those women testifying in front of Congress and saying, well, it depends on the context of the threats. So if I contextually threaten you the right way, it's fine. But if I do it in the wrong context, then I'm the bad guy. I don't know. I'm just joking around here. Let's see if I can fix this stand here. It's super hard to adjust. I don't think I'll be able to get it. Sure didn't. There we go. There we go. Okay. What else here? I'm going to keep hitting that mute button. It's going to take me a long time to get used to not hitting that. George Bush was so hot. Who cares if he invaded Iraq? Could you imagine? Yeah, Obama's bombing Yemen, but so what? He's the first black president and I like him. He looks handsome. He looks presidential. Don't hate the players, hate the game. We're about 30 minutes in. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to go. This is extremely challenging. I have the utmost respect for people who can do this, especially solo. I mean, if I have somebody else here to talk to, easy. I could talk all day. Uploading this is going to be challenging because I'm going to be like, geez, do I really want to do this? I don't know. I've offered people to be my co-host. I would love to have a fucking co-host so that this isn't so bad for you guys to listen to. But my best friend won't be the co-host. And my other buddy Grant's busy. And the other people I would like to talk to, I'm sure just don't want to do it or whatever. But I have to get this out into the ether. Someone has to be bringing this stuff up, because if I don't, no one will. It'd be nice to have like a some way to interact with people who are listening, and I can go, look, you guys tell me what you want to fucking talk about. I don't know. I'll talk about anything. If I'm not told what to talk about, I end up talking about, the assassination of CEOs. Does that make me a conspiracy theorist, by the way? Am I a conspiracy theorist for saying that these things happened? I'm sure someone's out there saying, hey, you're a right-wing conspiracy theorist if you think that fill in the blank, that Luigi was the bad guy or whatever. I don't know. I'll tell you a fun conspiracy theorist. I was listening to Sean Ryan's podcast. For those of you who don't know, Sean Ryan is one of the many ex-military veteran guys that got out, but he's probably the only good ex-Navy SEAL or whatever that isn't fucking annoying. Right, he doesn't have videos calling everybody else a pussy and talking about how much discipline he has. He actually seems pretty reasonable. Doesn't talk about himself too much. Doesn't boost his own ego. Isn't about his brand. Isn't about jujitsu. At least he's not outwardly about it. Dude just has people on and talks about America. I think he's a patriot, or he's trying to be a patriot. But he had this guy on who runs a fucking Instagram account, an army Instagram account. And I had to listen to this because I saw the clips from it. I didn't want to, but I was at work. And I was bored. And it was that, or I don't know, watch something about football or some other shit that I don't know. I don't want to do that. There's a conspiracy at large. I have to listen. I have to hear these people out. I'm not saying I believe everything they're saying or the things they alleged are true, but who doesn't love a good conspiracy? What if he's right? So this guy comes on, he's like, look, I got an Instagram account. I've never even heard of it. It's called Terminal Siwo or some shit, or I don't know. It's basically like the army version of Terminal Lance. But he comes on and he's like, immediately, like, you could tell they have to get this out. They've got something. They're like, we need to talk about this immediately. The whole podcast is like only an hour. But he's like, hey man, the Vegas bomber reached out to me before the attack. And if all the things he's saying are true, if the messages he shared are true, this guy was pretty fucked up in the head. And I've heard a lot of shit. I don't know it's true. I heard the Vegas Cybertruck bomber in front of Trump Tower was acting alone. I saw somewhere they said his DNA of his skirt, what's it called? His burnt body didn't match the DNA of his son. And so people were saying, well, maybe it wasn't him. Maybe there was someone else. And that's what they go on to allege in the podcast. Possibly this guy wasn't actually in the truck at the time it blew up. Possibly it was someone else. Now, I don't know. He sent these messages to this Instagram account. I'm so bad at telling stories. He sent these messages to this Instagram account saying, hey, look, I need to get this message out there. The government has developed gravital propulsion technology or anti-gravital propulsion technology. And that's what all these UFOs you're seeing in New Jersey and stuff. And I think he said the Jersey drones or UFOs are actually China's. He goes, yeah, dude, they've been, launching them from boats and submarines off the coast of New Jersey, and it's just they're getting ready for an attack. And I don't know, but look, I don't know. Don't get mad at me. Don't report my video. I'm just saying what they said. I don't know shit about all these UFOs. I see this shit on my feed all the time. I don't know what the fuck to think, but that's what this guy's saying. And he had a TSSCI, some type of access program clearance. So he might be in the know about something. He was in Germany or Belgium. He also seems schizophrenic. But I think that if you're sounding the alarm about UFOs, you are going to sound schizophrenic. It's hard not to. So, I mean, if everything, I just did again. I think I muted it. If everything he's saying is true, it's going to sound schizophrenic. I don't know. I'm not as interested in this stuff. I don't feel the need to leak this stuff because, ultimately I don't care. It's all out of my control. I don't think there's anything we can do anyways, but this guy felt the need to leak it. So he's trying to get his message out there and he's going, look, dude, please get this message to the fucking Sean Ryan show. He's apparently sent all these messages the day before the attack when I was talking to him at the casino. And I mean, he did it. He blew himself up in front of fucking Trump Tower. When I first saw it, I thought, that's weird. That's like a message to Musk and Trump. Fuck you, man. We're going to blow up your car. Fuck you guys. This is a threat. A burning Cybertruck right in front of a Trump Tower, which I was just down the street from that morning. I don't know if that's what it was. I don't think that's what it was. I think this guy was actually out of his fucking mind. I think he read some stuff or knew some stuff from there was having his clearance and everything. And I think he was a little schizo. And then I think the fact that his charred body didn't match the DNA of his son, which I don't know how they would even know that quickly. Because he's from, he was stationed in Germany. So you'd think his kids are in Germany. Or maybe they were in Colorado Springs where he lived at before, but how the fuck are you going to get that son's DNA, like a day or two after the attack happens? Does that make me a conspiracy theorist? No, dude, they can get the fucking DNA, within 6 hours of his son and match it to his fucking body. And no, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know. My theory, though, is maybe his son's a bastard. I saw a headline that this guy actually had a mistress or something. Who's to say, his wife wasn't sleeping around and carried that son out of wedlock? I don't know. Maybe he's a bastard. We don't ask ourselves that question enough. Is this person a bastard? Is Justin Trudeau a bastard? I had that conversation with Kaylin yesterday. Because Trudeau just resigned. I said, thank fucking God. I'm so tired of seeing that guy's face. It's been 9 years. He ruined Canada. He was really strict during the lockdowns. He's made up conspiracies about the far right, his opponents. That guy's Fidel Castro's bastard son. Allegedly. Don't sue me. But he looks like Fidel Castro. He does. That's just what I think. Because I've seen both of Justin Trudeau's parents, and they don't look like him. It looks like if his mom slept with Fidel Castro, which she was really close with. I'll tell you what, if Kaylin was hanging on a guy's arm like that, I'd be a little suspicious. It's also not uncommon for people at this level of fame and notoriety It's probably way more common than we think. Bastards. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Keelan got very defensive, and I feel bad because Kaylin's adopted, and I said, "Hey, I think this guy's a bastard." And she said, "Yeah, but that doesn't mean that's not why he was a bad prime minister." And she's right, 100%. He could still be a good prime minister, but the thing is, when your alleged illegitimate dad was an evil Cuban communist dictator, it is sort of partially the reason why he might be really bad at running Canada. But anyways, back to the Cybertruck guy. They said they found the bullet wound in this guy's chest. I heard that. He had a Desert Eagle in the car. He had a bullet wound in his chest. The vehicle had a lot of fireworks in it. There's videos of him opening up the truck from the surveillance cameras on the Cybertruck. Look, I don't think the guy's goal was to set off the V-bid and cause some type of harm to people. It was more of a message. I think he knew, yeah, I might blow up these fireworks in this car and everything, but it's not going to like blow up the building. I mean, if he wanted to do that, you drive the truck into the building and then you set it off, and you don't do it in a Cybertruck. But some people are saying, oh, he's an idiot for thinking that. He's an idiot for thinking that some fireworks and his V-bid bullshit would blast through the fucking frame of the Cybertruck and do some fucking damage on the building. I don't know if that was his goal. I doubt it. The dude was in the fucking army for a long time. He would have known better. So in the Sean Ryan podcast, they're saying there's some type of body double. You have got to be fucking kidding me. My podcast stopped recording at 43 minutes, and I've been talking here maybe for 15 minutes or more like a fucking idiot. Not good. Not a good start. Not a good first solo pod. I'm the worst podcast audio to video producer ever, dude. I mean, I can't figure anything out. I think I'm going to probably briefly wrap up some of the things I just talked about that didn't get recorded because I'm incompetent. I don't even know exactly where it stopped recording. I have an idea. I just kind of watched the video. I was in the middle of talking about the Sean Ryan podcast, but I don't remember what I said before and after all that. Stuff that probably would have gotten me kicked off YouTube. Stuff that I definitely said, thank God no one's listening to this, because if they were, I'm getting kicked off YouTube pretty soon if anyone ever hears it. So maybe I can just do this again and not say those things. Whether it's already been recorded or not, I'm probably just going to say it again because it's funny to me. But the morning of January 1st, 2025, I walked down in the hotel, start checking out, and I had to stop at the roulette table. So I watched some roulette. And I saw my friend again. The same guy I saw playing blackjack just a day or two ago. I said, "Hey, man, I can't believe you're still in town. I thought you would have left by now." He goes, "Oh, I was, but I had to leave with a bang." I was like, "What the fuck? What do you mean, dude? You had to you wanted to win some more money?" He goes, "No, it's bigger than that. I had to leave with a bang, and I did." And I said, "Okay, man. I mean, I don't know what this guy's talking about. I don't know what that means, but I'm thinking like, look, man, I hope you got what you wanted from here. I hope you know, he's playing blackjack. I'm like, hey, man, I hope you win, and I hope have some fun, dude, before you go back to Germany and finish your army enlistment." And he said, "Oh, I will, but don't worry, Dylan, you'll be seeing me again." And I didn't know what he meant, but he said, "Okay, dude, it was great seeing you, dude. Take care, really." And I walked away. But I'm really frustrated that that didn't fucking record. I'm genuinely curious how long I talked after that 43-minute mark that might not have recorded. But I'm having so much fun doing this now that I'm over an hour in. I'm definitely making more of these. Sorry for the pause. Trying to become more okay with the pauses. That's important for speaking. How the fuck did the podcast stop recording? I didn't press anything. Did I tap the mic and it stopped? I don't know. I don't know how the buttons work. I don't know. I'm a little glad some of the other things didn't get recorded. Not really. They were extremely offensive, but they were true. But they might have gotten me kicked off. Can you believe that? I mean, if I do 17 more minutes, I'll be at an hour. 45 honestly would have been pretty impressive for my first one. I could have just stopped there, but I might as well stop here. I mean, I think I talked about that guy in the Cybertruck. His DNA didn't match his son's DNA. They said, I heard that somewhere. I might have saw that at like a headline or something. Look, I'm not clicking on all the headlines and reading them. I don't care that much, but I think I saw that. Yeah, his DNA didn't match his son's, and so my first instinct with that was like, well, maybe his son's a bastard. Not that there's anything wrong with that if you're the son, but I saw some other things. That guy, he might have had like a mistress or something, which is super common for these these career military guys to be cheating on their wives and all that. His wife could have easily been cheating on him and birthed an illegitimate child. But how the fuck would they have gotten the DNA so quickly? Because I remember seeing that like a day or two after. That is, the DNA didn't match. And so I thought the guy lived in Germany. So I don't know where his family lived. Maybe they were in Germany too. I know before that he lived in Colorado Springs, but how the fuck do you get the son's DNA from either place so quickly into a lab and match it? Now, on the Sean Ryan podcast that I referenced, they are sort of claiming that there's a body double. The guy apparently had like a Desert Eagle gunshot wound in his chest. So there's, if that's true, he shot himself, then there was an explosion, and then the FBI leaked that info. I don't know. Something I said that I know didn't get recorded just now, it has the vibe of the guy was crying in the Cybertruck right before it went off. And it seems like one of those things where maybe someone made him do it. You know, it's like one of those things like they've got something planted on you and someone's sending you these anonymous messages. Rent the Cybertruck, get in the truck, put the bomb in the truck, get in the car, go to the Trump Tower, shoot yourself in the chest, blow the car up. If you don't, we'll release the video. We'll release what we found on your laptop. But I apologize. I don't know if I'm repeating myself because, again, some stuff didn't get recorded here. But the guy seemed schizo. I mean, he was saying there was UFO technology that the government wasn't telling us about, and we had it and China had it, and actually the UFO sightings we've been seeing in Jersey are Chinese, and we're actually it's a big threat to our national security, and this stuff needs to get out there. But generally, like those guys who feel like everything needs to get out there, that is some schizo shit. You're schizophrenic and you got to reach out to Sean Ryan and Joe Rogan and Fox News to get your message out. You've lost it a little bit. To warn people about stuff you learned with your TSSCI special access program clearance that the country doesn't know about, and the best way for you to get that message out is to blow yourself up in front of Trump Tower. Look, it's hard to get into the minds of these people. I don't know. But I did see him after. I saw him in that casino. Matthew. I didn't know that truck blew up yet. I said, dude, what the fuck what are you still doing here, man? I thought you left. Oh, I'll be leaving, all right. The look in his eyes, you could tell something was off. Anyways, that's a joke. I'm joking about seeing him. I honestly didn't see the guy there. I have to preface that because someone's going to say, no, you didn't, dude. No, you didn't. No shit. But it's funny. It's funny to think that he might have been sitting at a roulette table the hours before this happened. It is. Someone said something to him. A girl looked at him, can I get this guy to get me a drink? Another guy looked at him. Hey, man, stop putting all your chips where my chips are. I mean, someone interacted with this guy. He had to stop at I was going to say a gas station, but he was in a Cybertruck. He had to stop at a charging station. We know that. I mean, what does that guy say to you right before he does that? What is the look in his eyes? I don't know. I would like some feedback on this whole fucking podcast. I know that I cut out 43 minutes and 23 seconds in. I'm going to add this portion onto the back end, and I might be able to, if I can fucking yap for 5 more minutes, we'll get to an hour. But I'll put this on in the back end. I want to know what you guys think. Was this guy crazy? Was he acting alone? Am I crazy for talking about it? Do you want me to do another pod? Am I a solo podcaster? If you don't want me to do one, just tell me. I won't. Dylan, please. No one wants to listen to you. No one wants to listen to this. Okay, I'll stop. I already know no one wants to listen to this, but I have to get it out there into the ether. That way, a year from now, when we all come back to this and people go, dude, did you know he was at the Bellagio at the same time as you? I could go, yeah, I told that story. But I have to get this on the record. A few other things I probably should get on record. Maybe I'll save those for another day. I've been paying pretty close attention to what's going on in the NFL. As much as I hate the NFL, I am intrigued with these off-season moves. I love to see who teams hire. Because remember, we're going through that end of the year head coaching swap, head coach cycle where all the teams are interviewing who they're going to hire. And I'm just curious. I don't know. I mean, like, these guys are all multi-billion-dollar oligarchs, and I know who I would hire and what I would do, but I'm curious. It certainly tells you a lot about like what's going on in their heads, and they like to leak stuff, and you can kind of draw the lines, who leaked what. And I want the Jets to get Vrabel. I'll put that on record. I want the Jets to get Vrabel. Vrabel will not go to the Jets, mark my words. Here's why. Vrabel's got tons of options. Here's the key, though. This tells you a lot about Vrabel. People don't talk about this. This hasn't been said on ESPN or anything. This is why I'm bringing it up. But when Vrabel was the linebackers coach for the Houston Texans, / maybe he was the defensive coordinator, I don't remember, years ago, the Browns, I think, requested to interview him for their head coaching role, and he just declined. And this was kind of when Vrabel was like more of a no-name. He hadn't made a name for himself yet. I won't say he was a no-name. I mean, he was a Patriots legend, but he hadn't made a name for himself as a coach yet. And he said, he put out there, look, I don't want my first head coaching gig to be with the Browns. I'd rather it be with a more established team. I can go somewhere where I know it's going to be less tumultuous. And if you go to the Browns, you're fucked. Let's face it. So he ended up like waiting an extra, like he could have been a head coach that year. He ended up waiting and saying, I'll be a defensive coordinator for another year or two. And then, as the story goes, he ended up coaching the Titans. And to think that he went on all those runs with Ryan Tannehill as the fucking quarterback, it's incredible. I mean, they had Derrick Henry, but Ryan Tannehill, I mean, I remember my dad going, he was a wide receiver in college. He wasn't even a quarterback in college. He was a wide receiver, and he just, no disrespect to Ryan Tannehill. I mean, he won a lot of games, but those kinds of runs, AFC Championship appearances, he's not an elite talent. So imagine if Vrabel comes in, coaches the Jets, says, we'll run it back with Aaron for another year, but we're going to draft a guy as insurance, or we're going to trade for a young guy as insurance, so that when Rodgers is inevitably gone in a year, we got some guys, although I know Rodgers isn't coming back. But again, if I was the owner of the Jets, which I should be, Rodgers is coming back, right? I'm not doing and saying all the fucking irrational, crazy shit that Woody Johnson said. I'm certainly not firing Robert Saleh after week 5. That was fucking crazy. Rodgers is coming back for a year. I mean, he played a lot better towards the end of the year. I know he's 41. I know he's controversial. He's so talented, man. He's so fucking talented. I mean, like, if they didn't fire that coach, after week 5 and the Jets going to Buffalo and give them a run for their money. They give Buffalo a run for their money. I mean, they're gonna split with Buffalo every year with as good of a team as the Jets have. They're gonna go 1-1 with Buffalo with that team, with that roster, with Saleh as the head coach, with Rodgers playing, not injured. I mean, hell, they beat him last or the year before with Rodgers injured. Zach Wilson got thrusted in after 4 snaps, but you're running it back with Rodgers. You're not going to become one of these franchises that has to fucking hit the reset button every 4 years. We need a new head coach. We need a new GM. We're going to draft a fucking guy. We're not going to develop him. We're going to be impatient and we're not going to be very offensive minded. It all comes back down to offense. I mean, you need a good offense in this league. And by good, I mean like you should be like Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid. I know they've got talent, but systematically they're exploiting the contemporary landscape of the NFL. You need to be throwing the ball down the field because of those pass interference calls everybody gets. I don't agree with him. I don't think it should be like that. Again, don't hate the player, hate the game, but you throw the ball down the field a lot in a game, and eventually you're going to get those PI calls and you're going to get free plays, free 40-yard penalties. But when you're running a system where you're throwing bubble screens and slants and shit, yeah, you might still get some of those same fucking calls, but it's only for like 5 yards. Throw the ball down the field. The league wants it to be a passing game. They love marketing those deep balls and this guy's got speed. So look, it's not the 1980s where people are going to be playing bully ball and you're going to want the biggest, baddest motherfuckers who are going to be hitting hard. Yeah, that's great. But when you're hitting people hard, you're going to get penalized for it. They don't like it when you hit hard. Go ahead, hit hard. You're going to get a flag. We're going to build the best defense. And the Jets had the best defense. But where'd that get them? We're going to build the best defense. Okay, great. Now what? Now you're the most penalized defense, or one of the most penalized defenses in the NFL. Just have a good offense. And I think Kalen's coming home soon, so I want to wrap this up. But Joe Douglas said, look, man, we're going to build that O-line. This is another thing people aren't talking about. He met Sam Darnold's parents when he got the job and looked at them and said, I'm going to protect your son. And for those of you who don't watch football and are still listening for whatever reason, what was implied there was we're going to get good offensive linemen so that Sam doesn't get hit. The best teams are going to have the best offensive lines. And he failed to do it. I don't like all that talk, dude. I don't like when guys go, we're going to get this line right. We're going to build the O-line. Not so good, man. You had like over 5 years. And your whole fucking thing was like, Joe Douglas, he was an offensive lineman. He understands how important the offense. Okay, well, why the fuck did you draft Mekhi Becton? Why the fuck did the Jets have the worst O-line the last 5 years? The good teams have the best O-lines. The bad teams have the worst O-lines. It's pretty simple. Get really good O-linemen. Draft O-line, first round every year. You always need more. Yeah, we need a stacked defensive. No. Go ahead, get a stacked defense. They're just going to penalize the shit out of it. I should be the owner of the Jets. I should. I could run that franchise. I could bring glory. I could get to the bottom of every conspiracy and be the owner of an NFL football team. I could find out the truth about the New Orleans ISIS driver, the Cybertruck bomber, Luigi. I could just. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. If you listened to this much, thank you. I don't know why you did. Thank you. I might do this again. This was actually fun. I wish I could smoke a cigar while I do this. Maybe I will one day. I would love to have other people here. Talking by yourself is extremely hard. This is extremely challenging. I was nervous at first. I think it was a slow start, but we made it. Goodbye.